Hi, hello. Welcome to the Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. It is Friday Eve already. God knows a lot of stuff going on, and our prayers go out for the people in the Carolinas because it don't look good. But that hurricane is actually not as big as it's big, but it's a Cat 2 rather a Cat 4. That's a big difference. But right, the problem with that storm is rain. You remember the rain we got in 2016?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was no hurricane. Well, it just stayed there and churned on us. And remember Harvey?
Yeah.
In Houston, what was that, last year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was just a rain. And so anyway, but now they're showing it as a Cat 2 coming in. So.
Well, that's a difference of at least about 30, 40 miles per hour worth of winds.
That don't hurt you on the winds, but that water just staying there would be a bad thing. So anyway, our prayers. And by the way, Cajun Navy, 200 people already headed that way.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Anything breaks that we have, we'll be glad to pass along to you. Secretary of State's race right around the corner that nobody's talking about. I think we're the only ones that talk about it. I have a young lady on with me right now who is running. She is the mayor of Turkey Creek, Miss Heather Cloud. Miss Cloud, how you doing?
Hi there, Moon. I'm great. And you said it perfectly. No one is talking about the Secretary of State's race, and that office is one of the most important offices in this state.
Yeah, my concern with nobody talking about it, Heather, is nobody who's going to vote. We got congressional races. We got the Secretary of State's race. There's some local races going on. And I'm telling you, there's just nothing out there to tell people that we try to do it on a daily basis, that we have elections right around the corner.
Yes, and I appreciate what you do to inform the electorate.
Well, I appreciate it. All right, let's learn a little bit about you. Give us a little background. Of course, I want to get into, you had an incident with voter fraud, and I do want to talk a little bit about that. But give a little background of who you are and things of that nature.
Sure. Well, I am a degreed Louisiana educator. My husband and I own 2 small businesses here in Louisiana. We didn't buy them. We actually built them from the ground up, a trucking company, which we started in 2003. And I opened a restaurant in 2011. Actually, I opened it for our community to provide tourism and sales tax revenue. I've been the mayor of this town for nearly 8 years, and I'm the president of the Tax Commission here in Evangeline Parish. And I'm going to tell you, before you discount Turkey Creek because it's small, Turkey Creek owns one of the largest, most expansive water systems in the state of Louisiana. And so the brunt of the work of the mayor is basically the CEO and CFO of this huge water system.
Wow. Well, no, I think every mayor is just as important as the next one. I know when you said you, before I knew you were talking about me, but in general. So how long have you been mayor?
Nearly 8 years.
Okay, so you
want to know why I ran?
No, that's what I'm getting to. Why did you run? And we'll talk about why you're running for this office.
Sure. So I ran for mayor because from 2008 to 2010, money was just kind of draining out of the village government. And there was a major legislative audit done here in Turkey Creek, and the auditors did diagnose that lots of money went missing, and I'm talking about in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they just couldn't determine the who's and when's and how's. And so many people in our community sat around and complained about it, and I'm not the kind of person to just sit back and complain. So I decided to run for the head spot for mayor. And so that's what I did. And I beat a longtime council member who was also running for mayor. And I tell you, we put together a great team. And within the first year, we got ourselves into compliance with the legislative auditors and with the Department of Health and Hospitals and the Department of Environmental Quality. And today we enjoy the fruit of that because we were recognized as one of the top water systems in the state.
Wow, that's pretty big. That's come out, as they say, it comes a long way, baby. That's a big improvement. Okay, why Secretary of State? Now, I know you have, before you get into that, why Secretary of State, why now? And then I want to get into an experience you had with voter fraud, because I've read your story and I thought it was really intriguing what you had to fight. But why Secretary of State? There's a reason you want to run for this.
Yes, because I feel like if not me, then who? There is no one that takes this office and the job, particularly the job of Chief Elections Officer, as seriously as me. And what's exciting and yet disappointing is all of these candidates are in the race screaming election integrity, and they're going to fight for it. That's at the heart of their campaign. And they're screaming it now within, 2018, and I have been fighting for it since 2014. And so I take I guess I take these political slogans with a grain of salt because I know what I've been fighting for and I know what I've been fighting against, and that's complacency even amongst legislators, authorities, and the Secretary of State's office. So for people to say that they're going to do the job that I know needs to be done, I take that with a grain of salt. I know that I will do. I know it because I've been doing it for 4 years.
I was speaking to Turkey Creek Mayor Heather Cloud, who's running for Secretary of State. Look, I want to bring this up. You had no intention of bringing it up because me and you have never spoken to this very second. But you also had a fight in your life for recovering from breast cancer, didn't you?
It was actually thyroid cancer that spread into my lymph nodes. And I'm always hesitant to talk about that because I am not running on my... No.
Listen to me. Me and you have never even spoke before. I heard the story. I'm not asking you to go into big details, but I just wanted to know because you had a fight, a real fight for your life, and there is a candidate running like that. You're not. But I wanted to know a little bit of the story. Not your great details, but just some of the things that you had to go through.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you this: for 2 years prior to last year, November the 6th, which is when I had my surgery to remove the cancer at MD Anderson, I was having problems, and I would go to doctor after doctor, and they would tell me that there wasn't a problem with having difficulty swallowing and so forth, and extreme fatigue, and so I had to press on and demand to see a specialist, and just like everything else in my life, I have to fight for it. So I finally got, you have to have referrals. So I finally got to see a specialist, and the day that I saw him, he recognized that I had the characteristics of cancer, and it looked like it had spread. It spread pretty far outside of my thyroid, and it was really a miraculous thing because I wasn't supposed to see doctors for quite some time. All of these were specialized surgeons, and everything happened so rapidly, Moon, that when I was supposed to see my first doctor in November of 2017, my surgery was done and over with in November of 2017.
Wow.
And so when I talk about cancer, don't feel sorry for me. I'm speaking to your listeners because cancer and all these other challenges that we have shape us, and it has shaped me in some amazing and profound ways. And it's so one of these journeys that I'm like, well, it was tough, but I'm glad that I went through it. And now I can understand people that have these same sorts of challenges. Well,
you know what? The Lord allows us to go through things, and we kind of look at it as a negative, but I'm a big believer we go through things not only for ourselves to help us in our faith, but it is to help witness to others that are going through things that you can say, no, I went through this. Here's what I did. And that's what people don't understand. We try to protect our children. We don't want them to go through nothing. Well, the fact that that's not life. That's just not life. And so I think you got the best attitude with it. And I think people that have that kind of attitude, we need y'all out there to be encouraging to other people. There's no doubt about it. And I didn't want to get into deep detail, but I knew I'd heard a little bit of the story. And I said, you know what? Let me talk to somebody who's not out there pushing it, who just, because I asked, was nice enough to share the story. And I just wanted you to share a little bit of the story. That's all.
Thank you. And I hope that through that people see my faith and my dependence on God.
Well, no. I did. When you started talking, I could tell immediately. And that's what I was hoping and praying that's what you would mention, and you did. But I am happy for you. And now you want to be Secretary of State. And here's what we're going to do, Heather. Brian, we're going to take a little bit early break because I want you to come back. You've dealt with something I believe happens in our state and other states, real voter fraud. You've had to battle to work through that to actually be where you are today. I want to come back. I want you to tell a story. Her name is Heather Cloud. She is the mayor of Turkey Creek. She's got an interesting story. Don't go anywhere. She's a young lady. She's a Republican. She wants to be Secretary of State. We got a story when she comes back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. If you would like to be part of it, it's an opportunity. We have Turkey Creek Mayor Heather Cloud with us. She is running for Secretary of State's office, and she is visiting with us right now. Heather, you, once again, reading about all the candidates, when I came across you, and I've seen some stuff on YouTube about you and other candidates, and one of the things that was very intriguing to me was, and I want to say it's the term you're in right now, that you really had to fight voter fraud to get to where you are right now, and you actually won. So tell us what happened. I really am intrigued about this because I want people to know there's voter fraud that goes on. I hate when people say it doesn't go on because it does.
Well, and part of that is because they don't see the evidence of it. There are actually two investigations going on. Kyle Ardwan mentioned at a forum that I was at that there are 2 investigations going on. You probably wouldn't know that if I wouldn't have said it. Whenever I'm going to go into the story, but whenever I turned my voter fraud case in to the Secretary of State's office, they couldn't get to me for 14 days because they had so many cases that they were investigating across the state. If that's not an indicator that there are things going on the ground, then I don't know what is. Luckily, mine, and I'll explain why, was moved to the top of the list. Luckily, yet kind of unfortunately for other candidates, because I had to have certain political connections to get my story and my investigation moved up. Yeah, and that's really
in Louisiana, I hate to tell you, it's always like that. So don't feel bad and apologize for that. It's just if you don't have connections and work them, then everything goes away in Louisiana unless the FBI, somebody comes in.
Yes. So here's what happened, Moon. I ran for re-election. In those first 4 years, I had to do a lot of fixing, a lot of repair work. And when you go to fixing things, you tend to ruffle a few feathers.
Sure.
And those people came out of the woodwork, and they got this guy to run against me. Vote buying, these good old boy tactics were used to unseat me. Particularly frustrating was the use of mentally handicapped people within the drug community. There was individuals that were given $15 each. One little guy was offered a bicycle to take his $15, get in a vehicle, go 30 minutes away and early vote for these candidate numbers on this card. He doesn't read really well, but he could recognize the numbers and, assimilate them to what the ballot said on the machine. So he was promised a bicycle, and people snickered in the courtroom when I mentioned that, and that's really unfortunate because that is his only mode of transportation. He's mentally handicapped. So the things that we find intriguing is not the same as what they find intriguing. And then his mother was offered a lead spot in the parade. She loves to dress up as a clown and lead the town parade, and she was told that if she did those things, press those numbers, she would get a lead spot and a trophy every year that man was in office. So they were driven 30 minutes away. They voted. Bloated voter rolls. We have a real big problem with bloated voter rolls here in the state of Louisiana. You don't hear that on the campaign trail either, but I have diagnosed so many problems, Moon. When you're in the trenches, you tend to recognize really what's going on, from deep within. So I brought the evidence of voter fraud, which was irrefutable. I had paper evidence showing that voter fraud occurred, along with lots of testimonies of people who were solicited and did not participate. And the door was shut on me. I brought it to the authorities. The door was shut. I was told, Heather, this happens in 90% of elections. You're just going to have to take your lick on this one and move on. So I said, well, no, this is illegal, and it's a hijacking of one of our most prized freedoms, which is our blood-bought freedom to vote.
By the way, thank you for staying in that fight. I saw Woody Jenkins stay in the fight, and he had so much political blowback that he ended up not winning on an election that was stolen from the Landrew people. And when I hear these stories, I just want to hear of a success story. And yours is a success story because you fought and you didn't listen to. If I listen to everybody that said you can't do this and you can't do that, I would never do nothing. So the fight it was worth the fight. But go ahead and continue. Yes.
So I was with Woody day before yesterday. We have a very common connection, a sweet connection with the election story. So anyhow, from there, I called the Secretary of State's office on my own, told them what happened, and the investigations department said, look, we have 2 investigators for the whole state. We've got investigations going on throughout the state. It's going to be at least 2 weeks before we could get to you. Well, by then I had really studied the election code, and you only have 9 days to challenge an election in the state of Louisiana. And they were giving me a timetable of 2 weeks. And so I said, look, you're leaving me remedyless. Everywhere I go, the door is being shut in my face. And so instead of taking no, I started calling every political figure that shared their phone number with me across the state of Louisiana. Most of them said, we like you, Heather. We wish you the best, but we can't get involved. But 3 in particular said, we'll get involved.
That sounds like most politicians. Don't get me involved in something real. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings either. I'm just telling you. Most people do that.
Right. It may affect them in an adverse way.
Absolutely. They don't want to take a stand. They just want everybody to pat them on the back. But go ahead.
So one individual that I called was personal friends with Tom Shedler, and he called, and he actually had come over to my house, looked at my evidence, watched some videos that I had, and he called Tom Shedler and said, look, this is a real deal. You need to get troops on the ground over here. She's a friend of mine. I need you to do something about it. So that was 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 o'clock I had both investigators for the state of Louisiana investigating my case, which was what I said earlier, that it's wonderful yet unfortunate because most good candidates don't have the phone numbers that I had.
Sure.
So anyhow, that's something that I'm definitely going to work on as Secretary of State. We cannot afford to have our elections hijacked anymore.
You ended up winning your case, and you had a re-election. Is that correct?
I did. My case was thrown out repeatedly. There's been bad case law. Judges don't like these cases in their courtrooms for many reasons, but my case was thrown out based on Savage versus Edwards, a 1998 case that said basically it's okay to buy votes in the state of Louisiana as long as enough votes can't be proven to change the outcome of the election. So there are people that are actually participating in this stuff and banking on it not getting prosecuted, and tried in court.
So you got it prosecuted, correct?
After I won civilly, I got it prosecuted. Yes.
Okay.
So through all of that, I did win my seat back as the rightful mayor of Turkey Creek. And let me tell you, Moon, I make $800 a month gross as mayor. I'm a public servant. I love my community. I didn't fight a battle and spend $25,000 of my own money through Thanksgiving holiday in 2014, 5 times in court for $800 a month.
Wow.
That's not why I fought. It became such a bigger picture that I was fighting for something.
Let me do this, Heather. Let me do this, Heather. This is a hard break. I'm going to leave you just a few more minutes when we come back to wrap up, okay? But I did want to get that story. Let me take a break. We'll come back and wrap up. Heather Cloud, Mayor of Turkey Creek, running for Secretary of State. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. We're going to wrap up with Miss Heather Cloud, who's the Mayor Heather Cloud of Turkey Creek. She is running for Secretary of State. And by the way, Heather, thanks for telling us the story. I didn't want to embarrass you about the cancer deal. I just thought that the story out there is a candidate out there running on that, and it blows my mind. But I knew you didn't want to talk about it, but I just wanted to bring up. Thanks for sharing the story, and really on the voter fraud thing. So my question is, for you is real quick is this was motivating you to run because of the voter fraud stuff that you had to go through?
Yes, absolutely. I said at the beginning, if not me, then who? I'm not angry. I mean, I was victorious. I am passionate about our election system, and I realize that every good candidate out there needs a person like me in that office. I want to tell you this because this is very important. In 2015, after I won, I was asked to meet with Shedler and Kyle Ardwan, the interim secretary now, and I met them at the old state capitol. The 3 of us, they shut the door. And I brought my brief with remedies, and I said, look, I want to work with you. I just want to work with you. I will volunteer my time. We've got to do something about this. I don't want anyone to ever have to go through what I went through. And instead of partnering with me, I was told that there was need with elections in the state of Louisiana, and we don't want to put out the appearance that there could be a problem with elections in the state of Louisiana. And that was it. That was the last time that I ever heard from them. And in 2017, Shedler did an interview on TV with a nationally known television program and said, when was the last time we had a problem with elections in the state of Louisiana? We don't have problems. Well, I know when. It was 2 years before. So there is some sort of cover-up for whatever reason, whatever the motivation is, and I'm sure that it's not a good motivation. And so I plan to shine a light in every dark place and actually do what I'm saying that I'm going to do. I'm going to get out on the ground and actually work to clean up our election system. And I believe that if we clean up elections, we can clean up Louisiana.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add real quick, Heather? And I'll let you go.
No, I wish I could talk to you for an hour.
Well, we'll do it again.
I really enjoyed.
No, we'll do it again. And if you want to tell anything to the voters, like I said, I'll give you a few seconds to tell something to the voters, and then I'm going to let you go.
Yes. Well, I've shared so much already. There's so much more to share. I'm full of remedies and I'm full of passion, and I'm a hardworking, determined woman. And if I'm elected Secretary of State, I will be the best Secretary of State that you've ever had, and you will be proud to call me your own. All
righty. Mayor Heather Cloud. Thank you, Heather. We'll do it again.
Thank you.
Right,
Take care, Moon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Now, Brandon, pretty interesting. There's another Republican woman going out there crying at the Republican Party nomination process, using what happened to her health-wise in the election and raising money with trial lawyers, and I'm sure Edwards and them are putting up to it, Julie Stokes. This lady right here seems to be a really conservative person. There's a lot of good candidates on this side. I'm not picking sides on anybody. I just, I've already been on the record as saying Julie Stokes cannot be that candidate. She's not even close to what this woman is. Not even in the same ball game. Not even close. So I appreciate her putting out, like I said, a lot of good candidates. Y'all heard several of them on my program. So you guys have a hard decision to make on what we're going to do with Secretary of State's race. But it is a race. You will be voting on it in November, and nobody's talking about it except this program. And I don't mean that. Maybe somebody else may be mentioned, but we've talked about it periodically for a while now, how this is an important spot. It's no doubt about it. And I want to make sure that, we have an opportunity to be part of that. All right. Also, at 10:06, Billy Weatherall. He's the gentleman with courage. And I got to go. There's an award that needs to be given to all those people up in the Benton area, Brandon. Billy Weatherall is the one that bought the ad. He bought an ad on the football field, Christ Fit Gym. And he put a little passage on that little scripture. Last year, they didn't say a word. This year, we got a nutted up leftist group in there that made a big deal about it. In the first game, they blotted out Christ. Well, guess what? It's been put back on the field. And the reason it's been put back on the field is because this guy, and I don't know him, but we're going to hear from him at 10:06. He's going to be on the program. You've heard him on Kiel. You people in Shreveport have been following this a lot more than anybody else. They've actually put it back on the field, Brandon. And here's why. The board has come up and said, no, we're standing behind this. So the school board, I think on a unanimous vote, they got behind him. And you know why? Because the community's behind him. And the community's behind him. So the really heroes, Bossier City, this gentleman, first of all, the people that stood behind him in that area said enough's enough. Okay? Enough's enough. Number 3, the school board, the Bossier City School Board. And number 4, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Aaron and Robert on Kiel Radio for taking a stand with this. They've took a stand. They went over every angle you could possibly go over this. But the board standing up for them is big. Now, here's what you have to do, okay? If I'm the Benton School Board, what I do is I lock down Brandon, there's another advertisement in the end zone. If it's me, I lock down those guys. Do y'all want to buy this for the next 10 years? And do you know why you do that? It's so some nutted up ACL type group don't come along and say, we want to buy marijuana, or we want to smoke dope, or whatever it is. Let's get drunk. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be careful. Because you're saying they can put this on there, and I think they can. But you got to be very, very careful that somebody doesn't grab the other side of the end zone and say, okay, we want to put our logo on there. We got the Satan Club. I'm just telling you, you got to fight. So if I'm Benton, and of course people in Benton are smarter than me, they probably already thought about this. I go ahead and say, hey, Mr. Weatherall, can we lock you down for 10 years? Or we lock somebody else down for 10 years? And you don't have to get into that. Because there'll be some nutted up group that wants to pay. But the heroes is this gentleman who has the guts to keep going. And I've been reading a little bit of stories on it and following it. And this guy's been getting calls all over the country. But the people in that area, in the Bossier City School Board, for standing with them, said all you need to know about the community. Said everything you need to know about the community. Anyway, he's he's gracious enough to come on with us, coming out of the 10 o'clock break, and I'm looking forward to visit him. Don't know him, never met him. Don't even know if he knows I got a program, but he was nice enough to come on. So he said, I wasn't prepared for the vote, although I thought they were going to vote against it. When the vote came in, they told me this is what the community wants. This is what we want. He's an Army vet, by the way, Brandon. And he's giving the Lord the credit. So I think it's time for us to see, this is what the leftist Democrat Party is all about. ACLU type hate. Joe Scarborough saying that Donald Trump's killing the American dream more than terrorists. If people want to vote that back in, we're going to end up getting this shoved down our throat where we're not going to have a say. We got to speak up and stand up now. If the school board said they can do it, you may have to go against the court before it's over. Anyway, we'll do that coming out of 10 o'clock break. Your calls are welcome, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Make sure you check out the Secretary of State's race. There's a lot of good Republicans in this race. There's a couple of good Democrats in it. There's one bad Republican, but you know her name, Nancy Pelosi. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Brandon, there are people swimming at North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the water, swimming.
I don't think they realize what's coming.
You ever heard that old country song, I'm in the yellow pages listed under fools? Why would you even be there? Why aren't you out of there? You know what I'm saying? Why aren't you gone? Would you be there? I think I'd be gone.
No, we're used to seeing these hurricanes. They're not used to seeing them as much as we are. I think they're underestimating it.
I don't think you can underestimate a hurricane. Yeah. People taking pictures and watching and laughing and cutting up on the beach. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not 1,000 people, Brandon. It's just a few, but it don't matter. Look at that, how wicked that looks from out there. Anyway, that's crazy. Anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Jump gears. Want to talk to my hero. Billy Weatherall joins us. Billy, how you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing good, Moon. If I'm your hero, you're in a bad spot.
Well, I tell you what, man. You don't see many people get up and fight the left from hell. That's because of where it's coming from, and because of what you've done. And I want to give credit to the people that have supported you and the school system in this case, the Bossier City school system, for fighting something that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, with our audience, we got a bunch of them in Shreveport, but all over the state. Everybody doesn't know the story. We try to explain. I did have Baron McCarty on. First of all, thanks for coming on the program. And I want you to just take us from the beginning. You don't have to do the long process, but you basically bought an ad for the Benton High School football, and your logo and stuff got put in the end zone. And your gym is Christ Fit Gym. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's a free Christian donations-only gym.
Okay. So the thing about it is, didn't you already have this logo? By the way, it had a scripture verse, too, which is great, too. Didn't you already have this on the field the year before and nobody said a word?
Yes, sir. I had it on the field the year before, and then I had banners in a lot of the high schools around here. I've been programs. I'm on scoreboards at high schools. We're on volley. If any school comes here and participates at Christ Fit Gym, I'll get behind whatever activity they're doing. And, a lot of the students raise money for their programs. So, this is something we've been doing since the beginning, since we went full-time in 2012.
Well, what you're doing is America. It's been America. God's blessed the country. You have a right to stand up for which I think we're a post-Christian culture, not necessarily where you live in, but in the country. And it's frustrating, but what I like Well, no, not what I like. What I love is to see people that say, you know what, I'm standing and fighting. And I want to take you back. Talk a little bit. You don't have to go into great detail, but some of the contract, you did, what you did, how this came about, and then let's talk about what they were trying to do.
Right. So Friday morning, last Friday, it's the first game of the season. I get a very good friend of mine calls me from the high school. I'm up early in the morning, and he says, Bill, we've been instructed to take the cross off the field. And he says, what do you want me to do? Because everybody comes to Christ at Gym in Bossier Parish. I mean, a majority of the community comes here. And I said, man, you're a teacher there. I can't tell you what to do. But I said, you know exactly what I'm going to do. I got off the phone. I prayed, and I just told my wife, I knew it was a battle. I woke my wife up. I said, Julie, hey, here's the situation. We're going to stand. And I just want to prepare you. And we've been fighting ever since. You know, I just was able to go to sleep last night. But through the process, they asked me, they said, Bill, look, we're going to give you your money back. We can't afford to fight this as a parish. Please don't make a big stink about this. Just stand down. And I can't. That's what we've been doing. And they're like, Billy, you know, we're going to lose more rights. What Christian rights are we going to lose in school? We don't have any left.
Yeah, good point.
And, man, if I don't stand for the cross, who is? Like, in all honesty, who is going to take a stand right now? So I took a stand, and I just said enough is enough. And I tried to do it in a loving and Christ-like way. And now I'm faced with the situation now where people are asking me, they're just like, Bill, you just can't stop here. You know, help lead this thing. So I'm just praying, and man, we did. We won by a unanimous decision to put the cross back on the field, and this is a huge win for Christians, you know, nationwide.
Yeah, no, it's bigger than just you. You already recognize that, and it's bigger than the community. But it says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the community for standing up. Because what's happened is, and Billy, maybe you already know this, maybe you don't. What's happened is these ACLU type groups, hate groups that hate Christians, they hate white men, they just flat out hate. What's happening is they're winning in a lot of areas. So some of these school boards are just saying, you know what, we don't want to battle this, because what happens is they come in and sue. Then they sue, and if they win, they want their money back. So now the suit goes to where the school board has to pay this hate group, and it's what it is. I'm calling it what is a hate group money. That's how they make their money. They go around, and here's what happens. Either the school boards usually will give in and then pay some restitution, or they'll fight it, and if they lose, they got to pay. So they just say, look, just give up. Let's pay a little money and get out of this. Let's don't do that anymore. So what we're doing is we're backing up from the things we ought to be doing as Christians, as people in communities. We're backing away and running. We ought to be fighting. I'm glad you're fighting, but I'm going to give the school board a little credit here. They stood with you on this one.
Absolutely, and I shook every one of their hands, and I saw them at church, and I shook them. I said, man, I need to know where we stand, because I was prepared to fight this for the long battle, and every one of them shook my hands, and they said, Billy, we're with you on this. And you know what? I looked those men in the eye. Every one of them, as they cast their vote, and I couldn't be more proud of our community. I couldn't be more proud of our school board for standing behind this, and this is how the ACLU is winning. Is because they're threatening teachers' pay. Mm-hmm. You know, the school board's money is teachers' pensions. It's their pay. So this is where the threats, and this is why they win the threat, because it's all revolved around money. So,
I'm a disagree. I agree with the money part. It's evolved around hate, but the money is a big part of it because they want the money. So you are correct on the money, but it's really evolved around pure hate of Christians and Jesus Christ. That's what the hate is on. It's a spiritual battle. I think you already know that, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. I've been following it through Aaron and Robert. Had Aaron on yesterday, and I'm humbled you even you will even call us back, because I know you've been busy, and I know a lot of people's been pounding on you. Okay, so tell us now that the school board has taken the stand they've taken with you, basically. My question is, what happens next? Where does this go next? Or is this going to court?
This is going to federal court. I mean, they're done appealing. I talked to the school board. They're just done appealing. And now it's time to face Goliath in the eyes. And we need to come up with a strategy on how to fight, because I didn't come this far just to throw in the towel now. So I'm seeking some advice of Christian warriors to find out how we proceed and how we stand together and how we win this thing. Because we're going to fight. We're not going to stand down. I didn't come this far just to back down now.
I got to believe there's some business people in your community and all over the country that are willing to say, how much do y'all need to fight this?
Yes, sir.
And I'm hoping and praying that's what's happening, because when I talked to Aaron said that you were really, really busy, and I figured you were. I didn't. That's why I had jumped on the bandwagon, but I did want to talk about it in other areas of the state. I was just hoping that business people calling you going, you know what, we're going to fight with you.
Mr. Moon, you know how much it cost me to fight the fight that I just fought?
How much?
$0.
Wow. I like that number.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ron Gaddy, I mean, he got behind me. He said, Bill, whatever you need. There was a $500 filing fee, and he paid for that out of his own pocket. And it's men like that are willing to stick their reputation, stick their career out on the neck. I mean, there has been some godly men. Mr. Moon, I've been to battle before. I fought in Afghanistan. I fought in the streets of Iraq. I fought in Africa. And, man, these last 5 days I've been in a firefight. And
by the way, I did want to mention, I told it to Brandon, you were in the Army, correct? You're a veteran.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, God bless you for what you did for us. And but go back to what you were saying. You've been in Iraq and all that. This fight right here, it seems worse than what you went through.
Oh, absolutely. Because in warfare, and I've lost a lot of friends. I've had friends that laid their life down for the flag. And I've been in the real deal combat. In these last 4 days, man, it's exactly what I've been through. It's just a different kind of warfare. It's spiritual warfare. And I found out, man, when the bullets are flying, who's going to stand, behind Christ? Who's going to get behind Christ? I've learned a lot, Moon. I've seen a lot of men. I've seen the character of men, and I've seen people that are willing to stand beside Christ and fight this fight. So I've learned who's willing to put their mouth where their money is.
It's hard to believe that a man who went through basically warfare in countries that you saw hate and killings and everything else and shootings and lost people, you come back and you put up a nice sign in the other schools, nobody says anything, and all of a sudden this year we can't have that. I mean, I just don't see how courts can rule against you in this. You are a legitimate business, and you just happen to have Christ on your business, which is is a really good thing in my book, and all of a sudden it's bad. I wanted for you to put Smoke Dope Jim if they would be complaining right now, the left.
Right, and I mean, people ask me, what if they had to put All Out Jim? Hey, put it on there. Yeah. But tell me when that's ever been an issue. You know why? Because there's men like Christ that are willing to put $3,500. Nobody else wanted to put an ad on the football field. Yeah. Me and some oil and gas company were the only ones for years that have been willing to do that. So, don't let's not talk about what ifs, because we can what if it all day long. And I'm going to focus on the facts. And the facts is, man, it ain't right.
Yeah. Hold your thought. If you can, we'll take a quick break, come back with about 5 or 6 minutes with you. Gentlemen, ladies and gents, Billy Weatherall, Bossier Board, stood up behind him, and he's in a fight, and he should win it in the courts. Once again, these ACLU-type groups, leftist, Democrat Party-type groups, hate Christians. God, they hate Christians, and they hate. That's all they know. Anyway, we take a break. Be right back. You're listening to The Moon. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. We're talking to Mr. Billy Weatherall. And, of course, you can check out the story at Kiel, our sister station in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's been a big deal. He owns a gym called Christ Fits Gym. He's been putting stuff around the community for a while, and all of a sudden this year, the cross and the Christ Fits Gym, and they didn't want the logo out there, and it's just a bunch of bunk. But anyway, Billy, I do appreciate you said you've been doing this in other football fields and other venues in schools for a while?
Yes, sir. We went full-time in 2012, and we're on scoreboards. We're on fences, on banners. We're in gymnasiums around the school. This is nothing new.
Yeah, but it's just amazing. What's the name of the nutted up group that went after y'all or went after you?
I'm not sure. It came from the school. Apparently, I have no idea, Moon. I really don't know who it came from or what source it came from. I'm not too worried about it because I just know it's a tactic of the enemy.
Yeah. Well, once you know that kind of helps you deal with it too. You know what I'm saying? But I guess, but they're not complaining to any other schools or any other venues just on the football game. Just on the football field.
It's the football. Right, it's the football field. And you know what? Then they're coming after my banners next. Then they're coming after the scoreboards. I mean, this is just the start of something small that can end up being really big.
Yeah. Well, once again, this is the people that have nothing to do and all day to do it in. But when you got to remember something. When you see the name Jesus Christ, you're going to react one way or the other. And,
absolutely.
And it's a spiritual battle. It's a battle. I'm sorry you're going through it. I know you're a veteran and you're in the Army, and like you said, you've had battles that you didn't probably know if you were going to make it. And when you look at a battle like this, you come back to America, you decide to do a gym, you get the logo that you want that fits you and what you want to represent. In America, a free country, the one that you represented almost got killed and had friends of yours get killed, and you come back, and some nutted up leftist group comes along and says, not in America. Not in America, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. It makes you kind of, I know deep down you got to go, wow, why was I putting my life I mean, you volunteered for the military, I take it. You had to.
Yes, sir, in September of 2000.
You volunteered for the military to put your life on the line for the nuts that are trying to sue you and say, we don't want your business on the field. That blows my mind.
And Moon, you know, I'll go back and defend this country 100 times over because I believe in it. Man, the parish, what just happened last week is exactly why I fight for our country and why we'll continue to fight, for our country. And just spiritually, man, I enjoy. This is where I thrive at, Moon. This is what I love. I love to stand for something.
Sure.
I love something to give me purpose. And I didn't get saved until October 1st of 2006.
Yeah.
Man, if anybody hated the Lord, I hated him.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd seen some bad things in war. And, man, if there was a God, I said, I don't want no part in it because I'd seen the horrors of war.
Sure.
But one night, man, as I'm holding a pistol to my head, using a Bible as a beer coaster, I looked down at the Bible and I just cried out to the Lord. I said, God, if you're real, if you really are who you say you are, I said, save me. Because if you save me, I will give you my life. And look what has come about.
Wow.
And ever since then, I've turned, man. I gave my life to Christ. And, man, I've never been more peaceful. I've never been more joyful. And God has created me for a moment such as this. And
well, I think your background, your background of being in the military that you volunteered for, I think gives you understand warfare. Now you understand spiritual warfare. So you understand the whole complete thing. God's got you where he wants you, man. He really does. That's the right way you need to be right now. And I tell you what, I'm proud of you, proud of your family, proud of your stand, proud of the community, proud of Bossier school system for standing up with you. And I hope you got all the money you need to make the fight the real deal. Hey, is there any way people can get in touch with you if they want to help you?
Absolutely. The website, ChristFitGym.org.
Okay.
ChristFitGym.org is a great way to communicate. We have a Facebook page called Christ Fit Gym.
Okay.
So, I'm about to have to call in the community. I'm going to a meeting, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Man, I'm not going to need the community. I'm going to need this state to stand behind us. I'm going to need this nation to stand behind us because this is the start of something big.
Yeah, well, let me know if anything we can do to help. We would be glad to help you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Moon.
Billy, God bless you, brother. God bless you. All right, we got to take a break. More to come. Your calls are welcome. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. We'll be right back.